Welcome back to the Excel Me Resolution 2021. Today I would like to talk about a tense, an English tense, yes, that is as magical and perfect as the snow around me. Of course, you may have guessed, it is the present perfect. I find that most of my students are really confused about this one. So, don't worry, I'm going to give you 5 practical applications for this tense. Let's have a look at how it's formed, okay? Now, present perfect is the tense that you form by taking the verb to have. For example, I have done, he has done, and so on. And so you add to this verb to have the third column of your irregular verbs. So, go, went, gone, you're going to use gone. Do, did, done, you're going to use done. So, he has done something, I have never been somewhere, and so on. For the questions, of course, it's easy peasy. You just start with the verb to have. You stick it at the front. So, have you been to Japan recently? Has he really done it? And so on. Now, let's move on to the 5 general applications. All right? Now, my application number 1 is going to be talking about general experience. Your general experience, someone else's general experience, it doesn't matter. Just please don't tell me when it happened, okay? No indication of time. Keep it general. For example, today, I feel like talking about Scotland. So, let's think about some examples. The British royals have lived in Scotland for many years, for centuries even. That's my example number 1. Have a think of your example. You know, something about general experience of somebody you know, maybe your own. Now, I'll give you my example for me. I've never been to Scotland. That's my general experience. My neighbor, I'll tell you about my neighbor. My neighbor has been to Edinburgh twice. Now, as per usual, feel free to take a pen, some paper, jot down some examples, maybe type them up or something like that on a device of your choosing. Let's move on to the second application. And the second one is the updates. For example, I've got here a can of Scotch haggis. So it's Scottish haggis, okay? It's their specialty. And I can say, as my example, I've recently received this can of haggis from Scotland, okay? Or I could say to my boss, he's already done it, or she's never done it yet, something like that. Or have you replied to the client email? So it's all about updates. Take a moment to think of your own examples right now. Let's move on to application number 3. And application number 3 is the typical application you see in all the textbooks. It's the results. It has finally snowed. I have finally found, I've located my favorite scarf, and so on. Take a moment to jot down or have a think about your own examples. Practice makes perfect. Application number 4 is all about boasting and showing off. It's talking about your talents or maybe just general experience, but in a really sort of a positive way. So, for example, I have lived in many countries, and you? Have a think, what can you give me as your example? Or what else do I like in my life? Oh, I've tested a Bugatti. Something like that. But you know what? It doesn't have to be special. You can simply say, I've read many books, and that's already an achievement enough for me. We do have one more application to go through, and that is application number 5. Application number 5 is very, very important. I've left the best to last, of course. Anyway, we use it for duration. For example, you may have guessed that I'm in the middle of a French forest, okay, right now. And I can say to you that I've lived in France for about a decade now, okay? So this is a duration that is still relevant now. I'm not saying to you something about my past. I'm saying I've lived in France for nearly a decade. President Biden, on the other hand, you know, the one in America, he's only been president for about a week or so. Now, this section on the present perfect is now finished. For all intents and purposes, I'm done. Now, you have a choice here. Either you pause the video, have a think, write down some of your examples, questions, statements, some negative sentences, and so on. Or you can continue to watch this last little bit. Now, in this last little section, I would like to give you a bit of a secret. I would like to talk a little bit about the present perfect continuous. So it's a type of present perfect where the duration and the time and the passing of time is important, where we use ing. As you can hear, if it's called continuous, you have to stick ing at the end of the verb. So instead of saying in the present perfect, I have worked in France for about 10 years, present perfect, I could say to you, I've been working, ing. I've been working in France for nearly 10 years and still I can't speak French. Anyway, keep practicing because of course that's the secret, you know, practice makes perfect. Keep coming back for more. Now, of course, once you get to grips to all of this, take our test. You know, we do have some free tests available, so have a look in the link in the description of the video and you're sure to find the link to the test. Okay, and then we'll come back to you with the corrections. All right, bye-bye for now.